Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Blackie, and today we're going to be talking about ways to carry a knife in the field. But first I want to mention to you that this coming Sunday I'll be doing a Silver Wolves class for free on my channel. We're going to do a summer loadout and going to walk through the process of how to select our camping gear and how to properly pack it for the field. So I hope you tune in for that. That'll be this Sunday. There have been as many kind of knives as there are types of snowflakes. There are infinite choices when you start talking about knives. Big ones, small ones, fat ones, tall ones, specialty knives, etc. And your particular type of bushcraft is going to be different from my bushcraft. Now, I prefer the term woodscraft because I live here in America and we have woods, not bush. And to me, a woods crafter is someone who has survival skills, camping skills, and has the ability to take off the land and make what they need. We're woods crafters. We take what we got and we make what we need. So if we need a pot hook, we take a limb and we carve notches in it and we make it into a pot hook. We take 3 sticks of about the right size and piece of cord and we make a tripod. Or we make a table, or we make an elevated bed, or we make a cabin. You know, we make whatever it is we need as long as we've got the skills and the tools and the resources. Okay? But how we carry it can vary. So let's talk about means and ways of carry in the field. And to begin with, we're going to start with the neck knife. The neck knife. Now, those of you that remember following my channel, all the way back in 2008, I've started with this neck knife. This was in vogue back in them days. You saw this a lot in Europe, and so many of the big names, Dave Canterbury and a bunch of the others, a lot of whose channels are now long gone, liked and preferred to carry a neck knife because it was very popular at that time to wear it up here like this. Now, in the easiest term, a neck knife is a lightweight knife of some kind that's going to be carried on some sort of dangler sheath with a neck cord that's going to hang around your neck like this. This is very, very handy for camp chores of cooking, etc., having this, and I still use this knife quite a bit for those type of chores. It is the perfect lightweight. Now this is just simply one of the small Moros with that red handle. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact model of this. I've had it for so long, but this was the knife I was using back in 2008. And all this is the plastic sheath it came in that I just simply covered it with leather myself and then braided up a neck cord out of 550 paracord to go around my neck. Advantages, it's right here, it's easy access. This is fantastic for a quick use and then put up. Crafts, quick carving, food prep. Wearing it around the neck like this in a camp setting is a great advantage. Disadvantage, this is not the safest if we fall. Because if we fall forward and this thing is pointing out as we're coming down and then we hit, it could job us. I don't think this thing's long enough to turn around and put the tip back against me, but you get the idea. So falls. So this is not a great idea to carry like this unless you tuck it in your shirt when you're walking to keep it from the possibility of coming out of some sort of angle. In which case, it is still very viable. But it is usually a lightweight knife. And these Moros, thin, light, are great knives for this. Again, good way to do for crafts, food prep, etc. And can work with anything else. But you need to be able to secure this if you're going to be hiking, especially in terrain that may have drops and stuff. Stick it inside of a shirt or something. That way it holds against your body and it can't come out here and get at those odd angles to job you. Okay? Now, one step from this is my WC Knives Mini. Fantastic little crafting knife, camp prep knife, etc. Very handy, very good for this. It's got a good sheath with it. Now notice it's got a belt clip on it. This is for clipping to other gear. And we'll talk about this again in a minute. But I also wear a heavy necklace, and this can clip to this and turn this into a neck knife. Now this is getting on the edge of the heavy side for wearing around the neck. This is probably 3/4 of a pound, and you would notice it hanging on your neck. So you want light, things like that, more light. But something like this is viable, and it can be used as a adjustable knife carry, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But even something like this could be made into a neck carry of some form. Okay. Now let's get away from neck and let's go to belt carry and various means of doing that. Okay, belt carry. Most knives are going to have some sort of belt loop or belt attachment area. You have, even the Kydex have some sort of way of putting it onto a belt. Okay, this is just a straight loop or some way to put it onto a belt. Now even this can be carried a few different ways, so let's talk about that. Okay, strong side carry. This means that it is on the side where I am right-handed. This is on the right-hand side of my body. Ease of draw, ease of putting it back. Now, putting it here on this hip though, if you fell this way and had to pry that leg out, it could slice through. So I recommend, in general carry, slide it further back to this position. It's not quite on the hip and it's not quite in the butt, but it's kind of like here, about this part of the back right there. Here's straight down, like halfway to halfway, right there. You can pull it from there easily, and you can put it back to there easily, and it's out of the way. If you fall sideways, you will hit on your hip and not on that metal and cause possible further damage. So right there is easy carry of it. It's also easy if you're pulling it wearing a separate belt, as I am right now. It's easier to maneuver the knife to where you need for right now. So if I need to maneuver it up to be able to get more access to it, easing out, because I'm doing a lot and having to put it back and forth a lot, this may be a little bit easier. And then carry it back there out of the way so it's out of your way. Okay. You can also move this around this way to this side and do weak side carry to your left. You reach across your body and pull it. I like this because I can pull the sheath out and see it, and quite often you'll see me carry weak side carry for this very reason. Being able to grab with my hand and pull away from me. The problem with doing this is if I miss that sheath, I could stick me or hook my clothing. And being back here behind me, can I see it? So I need to pull it out. Being here, I can grab it with this hand. Don't grab the very neck, because that's where the blade's going, right? Grab it about halfway down and lean it outward with your thumb, and then slide it in like that. Again, this can be carried around and there, back out of the way pretty easily. But it's cross draw carry this way, or strong side carry this way. Either one works. Being adaptable is the important part here, because if the knife can only be carried one way, there are going to be times where that is going to make it complicated. It's just in the wrong place, or it's binding you up. Say I'm going to be sitting for a long time riding in a vehicle and I've got my knife on me. Maybe it jobs into me. What if I'm riding a four-wheeler or a bike, or if while we're canoeing or kayaking? I have to maneuver that knife around into a position to make it easier for me to utilize it, or even have access to it at all. See? And so I need versatility. That's the key word here, versatility. Now let me show you a sheath that by its nature gives versatility. Okay, this is my friend Randy from StitchGear.com's 6-way sheath. You guys have watched my channel know this sheath. I've had it for years, and it's my all-time favorite sheath. But it allows multiple ways of carrying this knife. Adaptability. Now I'm not saying you got to have this sheath, but I want to point out to you how adaptable a sheath can be when we're needing to carry in different configurations. For example, if I've got a knife that really only wants to ride strong side carry, I can't carry my haversack there, can I? Because it's going to interfere with the knife. So if I need my haversack or my gathering bag or whatever I've got to carry, maybe I need my sidearm on this side because we got a lot of snakes or rabid dogs or big mean hogs or bears or whatever, and I need access to a sidearmor, then I have to force to put the knife somewhere else so it doesn't interfere with that, correct? With this type sheath, I can put in multiple locations. So let me show you some of the locations this goes to. We will start with just the basic belt loop. Okay, the sheath rides as a standard strong side or swiveled around weak side carry like this because of that loop at the top. But that loop is actually a separate piece that can be moved up or down. So we've already talked about this side and then flip it around the other side of a strong side carry to be able to take the knife in and out. But how about whenever I want to carry it completely differently? Well, that's where these two snaps and that back piece come in. Okay, by unsnapping these snaps, I can take this loop completely off. And then by reattaching the snaps, or this sheath also comes with buckles. On my Blackbird, it has buckles. On this original, I had snaps. That leaves two vertical loops right there. With this, I can put my belt through this loop and put it as a scout carry, like that. Some guys really like this way to do it. I'm not, because I can't see it, and as you see, I got to kind of feel around for it and make sure where it's going back there. But as far as a quick grab, it's very fast to get it out of there. But putting it back can be a little bit, and I don't like taking a razor sharp WC knife and poking around my kidneys with it. So I don't normally carry it this way, but it does give me that option. I can do it where it's edge up or edge down, left or right with those two loops. I can also bring it up here and run a strap for something on there if I have good enough retention, and this sheath does. I can do it on the old military type vertical carry right here and put my knife up in there, just like that. So it could be carried that way or even this way if I wanted to. Why, I don't know, but it is possible. All right, now let's talk about how we can also carry it as a drop or a dangler. On this loop on the back, you notice there's one long loop, there's another small loophole, and then there's a loophole right here, depending on what size belt and where you want it. Now, if I take this and I take the small loop, I take the big top belt loop to the top, and I take the loop right below it and I put it on here, just like this. Now whenever I wear it, it's dropped the knife down about an inch. Before, the knife was up like this. Now it's further down like an inch, so it drops it down more to maybe fit my hand. Maybe I want the knife to ride high for some reason, or drop it down low, okay? By doing that, I can drop it down further. And if I unsnap and drop it to that bottom one, just like this, now I have made what's called a dangler, like that. Now, a dangler is used a lot of times in the winter when we're wearing great big clothing, you know, that big oversized coat or whatever, that when you put this on your belt, your jacket covers this up, you can't get to it. And so to get to it, you'd have to peel up 3 layers, and you're trying to, it drops it down to where it's like a gunfighter position now, and it's down here at your hand, further down your leg. So my jacket would stop here and it'd be hanging out from under my jacket, and I could reach down and get it. I've also got that loop I can hook to my leg for like a thigh hook, and so therefore dropping it down. You see a lot of dangler sheaths in Europe for that very reason, because most of the year they're having to wear heavy clothing because it's cold country there, and so they're wanting to wear big bulky clothing, and they want to drop it further down so their hand can get to it. Otherwise it's tucked up under the jacket and you really can't get to your knife without opening your jacket or lifting it way up on one side. Not very convenient. And so a dangler, that's where you'll see danglers with these big loops on them. That's cold country. You guys up in snow country, this might be the way you want to carry it. And there's one other way that I carry this, and I want to show you before I move on to the next one. And that is what I call Cheyenne style. Cheyenne style was a type of knife sheath that was made out of buffalo hide back in the day. And good friends of mine who used to make leather made me a Cheyenne style sheath for carrying my rendezvous blade in it. And what it does, it sits at a diagonal on your weak side. So let me snap this up. There we go. And let me show it on me as what I call Cheyenne style. Now, instead of vertical, we can it at about a 45-degree angle. And we scoot it around to the front a little bit. And the point's back here behind us. This makes a very easy way to get and carry the knife. It is not truly horizontal, and it's not vertical. It's at a 45 like that. Weak side. I like this because I can grab the sheath, pull the knife out, I can grab it and put the knife back. Easy access, easy for sitting down. If I'm going to be sitting on the ground at a primitive camp doing work, it's going to be carried Cheyenne style. Because strong side, I can't hardly get to that knife because I'm sitting. Now the knife is, instead of coming like this, now it's doing like that on my belt, isn't it? Because I'm sitting on the ground. You got to pull the knife straight back and bring it back in. But this diagonal of a Cheyenne, I can go straight in and out. It's the best of both worlds to me. And so therefore very handy for a knife carry to pull in and out. Now, let's talk about two other methods of carry. Another method of carry, you may want to just simply put your knife on your haversack. Put it through the loop or whatever like this and put it to the front of the haversack where I can grab and pull it off the haversack. That's a perfectly viable way to do it. And I've done that several times, you've seen in videos. So just running the belt loop through here and leaving it as a unit with the haversack can be very viable. That way when I take the haversack off and sit it on the ground next to me to do crafts, my knife is on there. It's not on me, but it's still within arm's reach. So that is one way. Also like this clip on this WC knife, like I said, it can be clipped to a strap like this if I need a neck knife configuration right here and be able to access it and use it, and then put it back into my haversack when I'm not using it. So therefore, that is a viable way to carry. What's the size knife you need, Blackie? That's going to be up to you and what you're comfortable with and what kind of work you're doing. I fully believe in a belt knife, but I also carry small knives. I carry a Swiss Army knife in my pocket all the time, and I carry a backup blade in my haversack, and I carry a belt knife, and I carry a kukri. Each one's got a different job, and so you should dial in what are we working on today and bring the proper tools for it. Like for example, in my haversack right now, I have, nope. I have my Buck 110. This is perfectly viable for you guys that don't want to even do a belt knife. If your type of bushcraft just requires a lot of whittling and stuff, one of these big solid lockbacks or some small knife like the WC that can fit into a pocket or a hook to the haversack is perfectly viable and works very well. I have no problem doing 90% of the chores with one of these because I got a lot of experience with it. I know what its weakness is and what its strengths, and I'm not going to be batoning with it. So therefore, works pretty easy. Now, one last way to carry a knife. Okay, you guys up in cold country, like I mentioned before, the dangler, a baldric. Now what this is simply a strap that's got these two clips on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook that clip to the strap of my knife. just like that. Now this makes a knife that I can sling over my shoulder like this and have it on a baldric, on a sling. If I'm slinging a knife. If I pull it this way, it's in the middle of my chest and it can function as a neck knife. If I do it this way, it rides up under my arm and doesn't interfere with what I'm doing. But it's always accessible. So this may be something. And in really cold, when I'm having to wear, you know, it's January and I'm out here with my field jacket with 2 liners in it because it's going to be a low tonight of 10 or something like that. This is a very viable way to wear it because I have full access to it. My haversack has a strap that I can extend out to fit on the outside of big bulky clothing. And my knife will either be riding on my haversack or it'll be riding like this. So I've got easy access to it. Knife carry must be adaptable. So here's your homework. What knife do you want to carry? Is it something that I need a lot of access to? So I'm doing a lot of hands crafts. It's going to be repetitive and things like that. We're cutting up a bunch of cord, making a net or whatever. I need it up here close to the top, easy to get to. No, I'm just going to be using it for food prep, maybe to whittle this or whittle that, or maybe make some shavings for a fire. Then put it back behind your hip, like I showed you if it's on a belt carry, out of sight, out of mind, out of the way so you don't fall on it. Safer to carry that way. It's wintertime or I'm in cold country. A dangler or a baldric or some sort of neck knife is the way to go. These different ways of adapting to what your needs are is an important skill. You need to be able to realize what you're going to be doing and how you're going to need to carry it. Because there is no right knife, there is no wrong knife. There are some knives that are better suited to the task at hand and completely wrong for something else. As somebody was wanting to discuss with me one time, he said that, you know, he didn't need a little knife of any kind. He didn't carry a Swiss Army knife or nothing. He carried about an 18-inch knife, and that did everything. That was his one tool. Try to dig a splinter out of you with it. On the flip side of that, if I had to make a canoe, I would want a big knife. I use a kukri a lot, but a more compact size. So it's layers, guys. Carrying is in layers. I will always have my Swiss Army knife on me. It'll always be hanging from this dangler right here, this lanyard, in my pocket so I can pull it and put it up one hand, as I've showed many times in my videos. The knife we're using, by what we're planning on doing today, I'll be choosing a small knife, a light knife, a crafting knife, a general purpose woods belt knife, a kukri, maybe a machete. And I should be able to carry that comfortably and utilize it. Each of these things is something you need to plan ahead, because when you plan ahead, it's smooth. Remember what Nesmonk said, we go to the woods to smooth it, not to rough it. So carry in a smooth, easy manner. So in conclusion, guys, adaptability is the key to it. If I'm wearing big, bulky clothing, I'm going to need a dangler or a baldric to be able to have access to my knife, or possibly a neck knife. Am I doing a lot of knife-heavy labor in today's adventure? I'm planning on coming out here and building something, then I'm probably going to need my full-size belt knife. I'm not. We're actually going fishing, so a smaller knife will do just fine, and I may be able to not even have to carry my belt knife, because that butt 110 is riding in my haversack, and that will handle 90% of the chores I need out here. All I'm going to be doing is a little bit of fire prep. Again, the smaller knife may do just as well. Maybe I need to scale it up. I need a kukri because we're having to clear a trail today going someplace, or even a machete. I'll need to incorporate my carrying options for that. So, figure out what your plan is for the day, what tools you need for the day, and the most comfortable, easy way to carry them. That's the way to go. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.